Welcome to the Dropship.com podcast. Today, we're bringing you more e-commerce insights, dropshipping strategies, and all the inspiration you need to grow your business. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, this podcast is your one-stop shop for success. Ready to roll? Here are your hosts, Ava and Noah.
Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive with us. So today we're going to be looking at the story of Jordan Welch, a young entrepreneur who went from food stamps to building a multi-million-dollar business. We found this awesome article about it in the dropship.com newsletter, which, by the way, if you haven't checked that out, really great resource for anybody interested in e-commerce. But what really caught my eye was, it's not just about the money. It's about how he turned these setbacks into fuel for some pretty serious ambition.
Yeah, it really shows how facing adversity can build resilience. I mean, his childhood was tough, financial strain periods of homelessness, but he didn't let those things hold him back. He actually used them as motivation.
So what do you think? What clicked for him? Because there was that turning point, right? The article mentions his stepdad gave him the laptop. It kind of opened this door. And then he starts making YouTube videos, experimenting with content creation. It's almost like you could see those entrepreneurial wheels starting to turn.
Right, and I think that early exposure to these digital platforms, combined with his drive, really set the stage for what was to come. Even back in high school, he was already getting into entrepreneurship. He launched a clothing brand. He dabbled in sneaker reselling. He even organized a whole sneaker convention.
Wow. Okay, so those weren't massive financial wins right away, but the experience itself had to be so valuable. So what do you think? What were some of the lessons he learned? It seems like every step, even those missteps, added to his entrepreneurial toolkit.
Oh, totally. Each one taught him something different. So with the clothing brand, right, that taught him about branding, marketing, connecting with an audience. Then the sneaker reselling. Okay, well, that honed his skills in market research, identifying those profitable opportunities, understanding supply and demand. And the convention, well, that was a crash course in event planning, logistics, and building a community.
I love that. It's like each one of these is adding a layer of experience that just proves invaluable down the road. And I bet a lot of our listeners can relate to that. Starting small, maybe fumbling a bit, but always learning, always adapting.
Right. And it reminds us entrepreneurial success, it's rarely a straight line. It's about embracing those detours, learning from them, and always evolving. What's interesting is even while he's having these early wins, Jordan's still struggling financially in college. That's when he finds dropshipping, basically selling products online without having to hold any inventory. It was a pivotal moment for him.
Oh, yeah, totally. Talk about timing, right? He needed a breakthrough. And dropshipping kind of presented itself as a solution, almost this mix of desperation and hope. But even with dropshipping, it wasn't instant success, was it?
Not at all. He really struggled at first, burned through his budget, borrowed money, almost gave up. It's that classic entrepreneurial roller coaster, where doubt creeps in and you start questioning everything. But here's the interesting part. Instead of getting stuck in those early failures, he analyzed what went wrong, refined his approach, and doubled down on his efforts. And this is where that understanding of marketing from his earlier ventures really paid off.
This is where the aha moment comes in, right?
Yeah.
He finds that winning product. But before we go any further, for those who might not be familiar with dropshipping, what exactly makes a product a winner?
That's a great question. In dropshipping, a winning product usually has a few key things. First, high demand. There is a big audience searching for it. Second, relatively low competition. You're not fighting hundreds of other sellers. And finally, good profit margins. The price you can sell it for is much higher than what it costs you to source it.
So it's not just about finding a cool product. You got to make sure it fits within those criteria. And then his story takes off. He finds that product, and within a month, $3,000 in profit. Food stamps to profit in a few weeks. That's incredible.
Yeah, and that's just the start. From there, he scales up to $50,000 in monthly sales within 6 months. And that's where his ability to adapt and scale really shines. Instead of getting comfortable, he reinvests those profits, fine-tuning his marketing, optimizing his website, building systems to handle all those orders. And remember, this was when dropshipping was pretty new, so he was really figuring things out as he went along.
That's so important, right? You have to learn as you go, not be afraid to experiment. He wasn't following a blueprint. He was creating one.
Exactly, and that's key for anyone in e-commerce. It's constantly changing, so that ability to adapt, experiment, and learn from mistakes, that's what leads to long-term success.
Okay, so at this point, he's on top of the world, right?
Okay.
Rags to riches, the American dream. But then things change. He moves to Los Angeles. And this is where we see those classic pitfalls of early success.
It's almost like a tale as old as time. All that wealth, especially at a young age, it can be intoxicating. The article talks about his spending habits during this time. He ends up $21,000 in debt. It's a harsh reminder that financial success without the right mindset and discipline, it can disappear fast.
Such a contrast to the resourcefulness and resilience we saw earlier.
Yeah.
What do you think went wrong? What caused that shift?
Well, without getting too personal, it seems like a mix of things. The allure of that fast life, maybe a lack of good mentorship, and potentially some impulsive financial decisions. Spending without thinking things through.
Yeah, it's like he got swept up in it all, you know?
Yeah.
It's definitely a cautionary tale, but what's really remarkable is how he bounced back from what seemed like rock bottom. I mean, $21,000 in debt at that age, it's got to feel impossible.
Yeah, it really speaks to his character and his ability to learn from tough situations. The article mentions he moves back home. I see that as a strategic move, getting away from those distractions in LA, creating a space to refocus.
A classic reset button. Back to basics. And then he rebuilds from there. But how? What did he actually do to make that happen?
He went back to that same energy and hustle that got him started. He launched a new dropshipping store, but this time with even more knowledge and experience. And in 20 days, he was back to making $10,000 in profit.
20 days? That's insane. It couldn't have just been luck, right? What was he doing differently?
It wasn't just luck. Remember those early lessons from his other ventures? He applied those strategically. He focused on finding that winning product. But this time he was even more careful with his research, really dug deep into market trends, competitor analysis, and customer demand. He zeroed in on a niche that was underserved, but had huge potential.
He was using those past experiences, both the good and the bad, to make better decisions. He wasn't just repeating what worked before. He was constantly iterating and improving. I bet there's tons of entrepreneurs out there right now, dying to know how he did that product research.
And that's where things get even more interesting. So by 2021, his store hits over $1 million in sales. His YouTube channel, where he's sharing all this, grows to 250,000 subscribers. He's becoming a real voice in the dropshipping world, and he sees this opportunity. He realizes other entrepreneurs are struggling with the same stuff he did, especially when it comes to finding those winning products.
So is this where Viral Vault comes in? Didn't he create that around then?
Yeah, he took his own struggles and expertise and turned it into a product research tool specifically designed to help Shopify entrepreneurs, those building businesses on the Shopify platform. Basically, Viral Vault streamlines that process of finding winning products. It analyzes market data trends and competitor info.
Okay, so it's not just a random product generator. It's using data and analytics to make smarter decisions. That's huge for anyone doing dropshipping.
It was a game changer. And it shows how well he understood the market and his ability to see what people needed. He wasn't just selling products anymore. He was building tools to empower other entrepreneurs.
Diversification. He wasn't putting all his eggs in one basket. Multiple income streams, dropshipping coaching software. A much more sustainable and scalable model. Was that always part of the plan, or did it happen naturally?
It's hard to know for sure, but I think it's a bit of both. He definitely had that natural drive and a knack for spotting opportunities. But I think those earlier setbacks also played a role. Remember those financial struggles, the debt? I think those experiences showed him how important it is to have multiple ways to make money, to not rely on just one thing.
Like he was building a safety net, but also expanding his reach and impact. I love how his story connects those personal struggles with these smart business decisions. It's super inspiring.
And it gets even better. Those coaching programs he started, those weren't just a side gig. He really put his all into them, sharing everything, his knowledge, his strategies, his mistakes even. He wanted to build a community, a support system for other people trying to make it.
He wasn't just selling info. He was creating a connection. That's powerful.
And those programs became a major source of income for him. By 2021, Jordan hits his first multi-million-dollar year. It shows the power of diversification, reinvesting profits and giving real value to your audience.
He found a way to make passion and profit work together. And he's killing it. What do you think his secret is? What sets him apart in the e-commerce world?
A few things come to mind. First is transparency. He talks openly about his whole journey, including the failures. He doesn't hide the tough lessons, the setbacks, the doubts, and that really connects with people.
It makes him relatable. He breaks that mold of the perfect entrepreneur and shows us that success, it's a journey, not a destination.
Exactly. And second, his focus on giving real value. Whether it's through his products, his content, his coaching, his community, he's always looking for ways to empower people, to help them reach their goals.
He's paying it forward. using his own experiences to help others succeed.
And that, I think, is a huge part of his success. He's not just building a business, he's building a legacy.
Yeah, it's amazing to see someone achieve that kind of success while still staying true to their values. It's not just about the bottom line, It's about making a difference, building a community, and helping others find their own success. That's what makes Jordan's story so powerful. It's more than just a get-rich-quick thing. It's about the real deal of entrepreneurship, the resilience, the hustle, the constant learning, and giving back to others.
Absolutely. It's a perfect example of turning those setbacks into fuel for growth. It all comes down to having a growth mindset, seeing those challenges as chances to learn and evolve.
It's like that saying, right? Every master was once a disaster. Jordan's story really shows that. He didn't hide from his mistakes. He learned from them and built a stronger foundation because of them.
Right, and what's really impressive is how he connected the dots between all these different experiences. He didn't just keep that knowledge separate. He took what he learned from each venture and used it to build a complete understanding of business, marketing, personal development, the whole package.
And he never stopped learning either. Always picking up new skills, adapting to changes, seeking out mentors and resources, always pushing himself to grow. That's a lesson for all of us, no matter what we do.
Absolutely. It highlights the need for continuous learning, being a student for life. In this fast-paced world, the ability to adapt and learn new things, that's more important now than ever. It's not about what you already know. It's about being willing to learn and unlearn and relearn.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Jordan's journey, what's the one thing you hope our listeners take away from his story? What's that golden nugget of wisdom?
I think it's the power of resilience. Jordan's story proves that we can overcome anything. We can bounce back from those setbacks and come out stronger and smarter on the other side. It reminds us that failure, it's not the opposite of success. It's part of the journey. It's in those tough moments that we discover what we're truly capable of, our ability to innovate, and our determination to make our dreams happen.
I love that. So for anyone out there feeling inspired, remember, it's not about copying Jordan's exact path. It's about taking those principles and applying them to your own life. The resilience, the adaptability, the commitment to learning, and the willingness to share your knowledge and lift others up.
And if you're interested in learning more about e-commerce and entrepreneurship, definitely check out dropship.com. It's packed with resources, insights, and amazing stories like Jordan's. That's where he found his story.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive, everyone. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep chasing those dreams.
That's it for today on the dropship.com podcast. We hope you got some value out of this episode. If you're looking to stay ahead in e-commerce and dropshipping, the dropship.com newsletter is where we dive deeper into the latest trends, news, and strategies. Delivered every Monday and Thursday. Don't miss it. Subscribe with the link below.